What's up, Business Freedom Podcast listeners? This episode I started to title it My 5 Favorite Books of All Time, and I have to change that to My 10 Favorite Books of All Time. The good news is all of these are on Audible. So when I say that I read, in fact, I don't read anything. I just listen to Audible. And I know, don't pick on me that the comprehension isn't where it needs to be and all of that. Audible is easily, hands down, my favorite app for my iPhone. And so I went through, I probably have no less than, probably 400 books in my library. And I picked 10 that are 100% worth adding to your repertoire. And I picked them in a very specific way. Like if I only had, what's a book that once you read it and you do the thing that it's telling you to do, it would change everything for you. And it would also be a resource that you'd want to go back to. So if I only literally had 10 books ever again, I'd probably spend a little bit more time picking the 10. These 10 would be in contenders for that list of 10 books that I could only ever read. Number 1, if you followed me for any time, you know that I am a man of God. I do everything I can to show up every day in a way that would honor, the life of Jesus and the example that he set. So number 1 for me is the Bible. If that's not in contention for you, this list may go down by 1 or 2. And so I just think the Bible is super interesting. It's only been the last couple of years that I've spent any time really in the Word of God, really in earnest. And 5 days a week, I'm putting my head in the Word, reading it as it is. I've been I was saved in 2009, and so my journey is sort of new with my faith. That's number 1. Number 2 is James Clear, Atomic Habits. If you have heard me in any podcast episode, I'm likely quoting something from that book. He has presented in the most eloquent, action-oriented, applicable kind of way how you change, bad habits into good habits, and how you take the littlest thing and it can create these massive results over time. So that is a must listen. I've been through it 3 times already, and I'll probably go through it again. Number 3 is Patrick Morley, I think, wrote The Man in the Mirror. I think it's 24. So this one is for men. So I hate to say that. There's probably a female equivalent, although probably men are just way more messed up than women. I'm looking up the subtitle. The subtitle is Solving the 24 Problems Men Face. Very simple subtitle. And I've been through it 3 times already, and it's one of those things that you can go through once a year as a man. That's number 3. Number 4 is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And he also wrote a book called Clockwork, which is awesome. So one of the quotes from the book Profit First is that profit is not a habit. No, profit is a habit, not an event. And so a lot of times we just want our businesses to someday throw off $1 million, and it doesn't work that way. So Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Number 5 is a recent addition to the list. It's Joel Fuhrman. Dr. Joel Fuhrman wrote a book called Eat to Live. And it's just a really nice presentation on, the benefits of a plant-based whole food diet. Even if it's not about going all plants, just knowing the research that's out there. Yeah, it's really, really powerful. Number 6 is Halftime by a guy called Bob Buford. And I was actually listening to this book. I've listened to it at least one other time on my 44th birthday. So as I'm recording this podcast, I'm 46. So 2 years ago on my birthday, June 6th, I was listening to a book called Halftime, which talks about, how you go from success to significance, and significance meaning how do you do something while you're here on earth? And so really, really powerful book. And I was listening to it on June 6th, as I was in Hilton Head on our family vacation. We go to the beach first week that the kids are out of school. in the summer. And it was my 44th birthday. And I just had this picture. I'm like, well, clearly I'm listening to a book called Halftime. And that means I'm going to die when I'm 88. And so I love even numbers. And so I'm like, okay, so the first quarter of my life was 22. When I turned 22, now this is halftime, 44, 66, and 88. So the book challenges you basically just to move up, take away any chance of regret and move up all the things you would want to do in the fourth quarter of your life and just move them into the third quarter, essentially. Why are you waiting to start the nonprofit? Why are you waiting to do this or that, or give your time back to folks that need it? So really, really powerful book. Number 7 is Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. Really good book. He's written quite a few books worth reading. This book, though, was about the difference between amateurs and professionals and what it takes to achieve at a high at a high level in a specific area of your life. Super powerful. Number 8 is 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. And that one I've read no less than probably 10 times and just super powerful. That's the only real business book. Well, I guess the next one's business related. So these are just books related to all topics. So 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. Really, really powerful book. One that you can read over and over again. It's always going to apply to your business. Number 9 is E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. That was the first business book. I think I actually read that one, read it with paper and read it. Really powerful. Make sure it's the revisited version. I think there's even an updated version of it. So E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber talks about technician, manager, entrepreneur. We don't spend enough time as the manager or the entrepreneur. All our time, especially in real estate, is devoured by being the technician, the one in the business that's doing all the stuff. And they're not setting up systems. They're not casting vision and achieving, their plans, spending more time as a manager or an entrepreneur. Doesn't tell you how to do it, though it's foundational in shifting your mindset around. The E-Myth question is, how would I think about my business differently if I had to replicate it 10,000 times? And when I read that book, I was like, game on. I'm building systems and I'm getting myself the heck out of every aspect of the business. And then the last book is Millionaire Next Door. And I want to look up the author for you because I didn't write it down. Millionaire Next Door. Just talks about the reality of, it's Thomas Stanley. Talks about the subtitle. Let me read it to you. The Surprising Secrets of America's Wealthy. So a lot of times it's not, it's not the way you thought people got to their wealth, and they kind of go through, what wealthy people in America, what they look like and how they show up in the world and why are they actually wealthy? What do they do to get there? It's not like a grand gesture or a big win. It's just a series of small wins and small habits over time, if that makes sense. So that's my list of 10 books that 100%, if you haven't read these books, I highly recommend reading them and just digging into what they truly stand for. And so if you're at the point in your journey where you're stuck, you've heard me say it before if you listen to the podcast, the only thing we have to offer you is applying for our pilot program. If you've achieved a certain level of success and you qualify, we'll train you up 30 days for free. There's a 10-part training we'll take you through. We'll build a 3-year vision with you. We'll build a 1-year plan. We'll break that thing down into the first 90 days and what that looks like. And there's no obligation at all for the pilot program. So just go to realestateBschool.com, and the next step is really clear on the website, and we'll see you over there. Be good and take action and get these books, whether you read them physically or you listen to them on Audible. Take action. We'll see you over there. Bye.